Alright guys, welcome back to more Unlimited Blade Works.
いや、違うか。メインで聞こえてきたのは藤姉の笑い声だもんな。
Though it was still pretty noisy. It isn't good for my mental health to have girls the same age as me being rowdy under the same roof.
くそ。気になって眠気なんてなくなった。
Like Saber's troubled expression. If Sakura and Saber are getting along, or what Fujin is even thinking, the more that I think, the more my head starts hurting. If it's like this, it might have been better if Saber slept in the room next to mine. It's 11 p.m. The lights are out in the house and there's not a single sound outside. My hand goes to the door to slide it open and tiptoe by so Fujin doesn't hear anything. I go out to the garden. The moon is shining bright while the cutting breeze is cold. In the winter night, the world was silent, as if frozen. The shed has gone still. The place where I got cornered by Lancer yesterday. And the place where Saber appeared. The entrance is still open, and the darkness inside feels uninviting. I go inside. Closing the door behind me to shut out the cold air, I turn on an old stove heater.
日に200以上の矢をかけろ。か。
The teaching of archery focuses on accuracy, piercing strength, and persistence. Accuracy is how well one can hit the target. Piercing strength is the power to pierce the target. And lastly, persistence is how long one can maintain the accuracy and piercing strength. I think I read it somewhere in the archery manual. Once one aims to be a shooter after they learn the true meaning of kyodo, they continue that forever. So they say to shoot over 200 arrows, or something.
マスターとして何をするべきかわからないなら、せめて魔術だけは鍛えないと。
I sit down inside the shed and take a deep breath. I control my breathing and begin my regular training. My mind imagines the same thing that it always does. An image of a sword that comes to mind. I ignored that and cleared my mind even more. Once I've let magical energy flow throughout my entire body, I practice strengthening like usual. When I was attacked by Lancer last night, I succeeded in strengthening for the first time in a few years. I need to repeat it so I don't forget the sensation, or else it would be a waste.
トレース。オン。
I narrow my eyes and breathe out deeply. That's all for now. I forget all about the Holy Grail War, Saber, and Tosaka once I immerse myself into the process. Clear all thoughts and hesitation from my mind. But, during the process, the thought that Tosaka, who's a mage like me, might be doing the same kind of training never leaves my head. She weaves her way through an unnatural darkness, a desolate night. While the moonlight shines, she makes her way through the dark hallway and enters a room. This is a room of a random building. There are about 50 workers here. Most of them are male, and they are scattered like puppets with their strings severed. She grits her teeth. It helps that the darkness limits her vision. The rotten air is from the plant smell that turned into smoke and filled the air.
何の子だろうこれ。あーちゃん、あなたわかる？
Opening the door and window, she asks someone behind her. There's no one there. But in the shroud of smoke, a strong presence wavers.
魔女の難攻だろう。セリカの愛を破壊するとかいうやつかな。
それって毒人参でしょ？愛を破壊って。ああ、そういうこと。男に何か怨恨でもあるのかしらね。 この惨状の仕掛け人は。
だとすると相手は女かな。いや、何の恨みがあるか知らんが、サーバントになってまで八つ当たりするとは根が深い。
能書きはいいから窓を開けて。倒れてる連中はまだ息があるか。この分だと今から連絡するのも朝になって発見されるのも変わらない。用が済んだら手早く離れるわよ、アーチャー。
She opens all the windows on one side, treats the people in especially bad condition, and leaves the room.
服クリーニングに出さないと。
She sniffs her coat. Though she was careful not to touch things for the most part, the scent of rust still made it onto her. The room was sealed, and the floor of that room was covered in blood that 50 or so people threw up. The presence behind her takes form. What appears behind her is a knight in red. He is Archer, the servant who is protecting Rin Tosaka in spirit form.
それでやはり流れは竜道寺か。
そうね。奪われた聖器はみんな山に流れていってる。神都で起きてる昏睡事件はほぼ竜道寺にいるマスターの仕業よ。マスターがどれだけのやつか知らないけど、こんなのは人間の手に余る。可能だとしたらキャスターのサーバントだけでしょ。
竜道寺に救う魔女か。となると昨夜は失態を演じたな。
失態？バーサーカーと引き分けたこと？あれは最善だったと思うけど。
どうかな。キャスターがそれほど広範囲な網を張っているのなら、昨夜の戦いも盗み見ていただろう。にもかかわらずバーサーカーを倒せず、セイバーさえ見逃し、こちらは手の内を晒してしまった。これのどこが最善だ。
His tone is biting and sarcastic, but Rin does not answer. It was not a mistake to drive Berserker away and help save her. And most importantly, Archer hasn't shown the full scope of his power yet. Last night, it is true that the arrow Archer fired stopped Berserker, but even Rin, his master, has yet to find out his identity, or the identity of that powerful noble phantasm.
Rim.
No, she knows the principle behind it. It was just a bomb. He just detonated a bomb called a noble phantasm in front of his enemy. It goes without saying how exceptional it was. That was a one-time explosion of magical energy created using the most powerful of illusions, a noble phantasm. Broken phantasm. That's what the Red Knight's deadly noble phantasm is called.
Rim.
Though that itself is also strange. Servants typically only wield one noble phantasm, and it is part of them that they have had in their past life. What kind of heroic spirit would destroy such a thing so freely?
Rim.
It's not easy to fix a noble phantasm that has been destroyed. It's like committing suicide for a servant to destroy their own.
Rim.
In other words, Archer abandoned his strongest weapon in a situation where he still had 6 enemies he needed to defeat. No more than that, other servants would faint if they found out he destroyed his own noble phantasm. It is their proof as a hero.
Rim.
何？ごめん、聞いてなかった。
今夜はこれからどうすると聞いたのだ。先ほどの戦闘で疲れているだろうし、大事を取って戻らないかとな。
Rain clenches her fist in a response to Archer's words. The previous battle. A large number of skeleton golems wriggling in the hallway. All of them were destroyed by her own hand. She didn't need Archer's help and didn't want to expose Archer's abilities over something like that. More importantly, she felt anger towards enemies who break the rules as a mage and involve innocent people. That's why she destroyed them. She beat them without mercy until there was nothing left. She did not show any sympathy even if the bones were someone that could have been alive until just the other day. She did not suffer any wounds from this battle, except one. She fought and kept the nausea from overwhelming her. In exchange, she bit her lip so hard it bled.
キャスターを追うわ。気配はまだ残っているんでしょ？竜道寺に逃げられる前に型をつける。
何？驚いたな。 できないと思ったことはやらないのが君の主義ではなかったか。
そうよ。私、結果が分かりきっていることはできない。けどこれは別でしょ。今から追いかければ尻尾ぐらいはつかめるだろうし。何より
喧嘩を売らなければ気が済まないか。やれやれ、倒しやすい相手を放っておいて最も倒しがたい相手を追うとは。
いいのよ、セイバーのことは放っておいて。あんなのはいつだって始末できるんだから、別に目の敵にする必要ないじゃない。ちゃんとおとなしくしているんなら無理に手を出すこともないわ。あいつが家に隠れている分には見逃してあげるだけよ。
If only you knew.
ほう。ではあのマスターが目の前にいれば話は違うのかな。例えば未だマスターとしての自覚もないままエミやシローの方から君の前に現れたとしたら。
Those words are as if to test her. In a voice without emotion, looking down at the night town.
殺すわ。そんなこともわからないやつにかける義理なんてない。
Ren Tosaka asserts as if to convince herself. Oh, alright, new day. Here we go. Bonnie and Clyde. Winter 5 years ago. It was a beautiful moonlit night. I was just enjoying the sight with my father, Kiritsugu Emiya. It was winter, but it wasn't very cold. On the veranda, it was just a little chilly, the perfect weather to watch the moon. Kiritsugu didn't go outside much anymore. He rarely went out, and he spent most of his time lounging around the house. Every time I recall this, I still feel regret. Why didn't I realize that he was acting the way any creature does when they know their time is almost up?
子供の頃、僕は正義の味方に憧れてた。
He blurted it out just out of nowhere. My father, who already seemed like a hero of justice in my eyes, said that as if he were reflecting on a memory.
なんだよそれ。憧れてたって諦めたのかよ。
I asked, unable to completely hide my disappointment. Kiritsugu smiled apologetically and looked up at the distant moon.
残念ながらね。ヒーローは期間限定で大人になると名乗るのが難しくなるんだ。そんなこともっと早くに気がつけばよかった。
That made sense to me. I wasn't sure why, but if Kiritsugu said it, then it had to be true.
そっか。それじゃしょうがないな。
そうだね。本当にしようがない。
Kiritsugu nodded in agreement, so just kind of blurred something out, as if it were a natural thing to say.
しょうがないから俺が代わりになってやるよ。じいさんは大人だからもう無理だけど、俺なら大丈夫だろ。任せろって。じいさんの夢は。
Because I'll make it a reality. The bold promise made my father smile. His face said everything I needed to know. Kiritsugu made a long contented sigh and whispered.
ああ。安心した。
There he closed his eyes, and so too, his life came to a close. This happened in the winter 5 years ago. Such was the parting that would determine the course of his life. The night that Shiro Emiya swore to be a hero of justice. There's no way I could forget. I never talk about this, but I still remember it. 10 years ago, a man saved me from a fire. He said thank you as he picked up the child who was unconscious, covered in burns, and on the verge of dying. That he was glad to have found them. He smiled as if thanking someone, saying that he was glad to have been able to rescue at least one person. The emotion that I felt then is engraved in my mind. Nobody saved me. I couldn't save anyone. In the midst of that, I was the only person that was saved, and there was only one person who saved me. That's why I decided to be like him. I wanted to become a hero of justice that saves people and doesn't let anyone die. Even if it was a childish fantasy, I dreamt of doing so. And then, Kiritsugu, who was the embodiment of my dream himself, left behind his dream of becoming something like that and died peacefully. It's only natural for a child to follow in their father's footsteps. Shiro Emiya must become a hero of justice and save someone like me. Yes, I strongly swore so as a child. Shiro Emiya will fulfill the dream on behalf of the man that he admired more than anyone else. But I don't really know, to be honest. If the way that I think is correct, where the way of thinking comes from, what I can do as an amateur, how to make the dream of making everyone happy that Kiritsugu would often mention, which is itself as far-fetched as magic come true. Oh, and what I can do as a master now. There's too many things to think about that my head feels like it's about to burst. A nostalgic dream filters through my mind, and then I wake. The bright morning light comes in through the window. It's chilly in my room, and my body feels it despite a blanket wrapped around me.
参った。またここで眠っちまったのか。
I shake my head and change from my coveralls to my school uniform. It's a bit before 6 a.m. Sakura is probably already up and making breakfast. I make my way out to the yard and take in the morning air. Ah, it's a good morning. Though I'm preoccupied by the thought of 3 girls also staying here.
あ、訂正。女の子は2人だけだった。
I'd be hard-pressed to call Fujine a girl. Anyway, now. I'll go see how Saber's doing. I'll go help Sakura. I'll go wake Fujine up. Let's see how Saber's doing. I have to go see what happened to Saber. Despite Saber's stoicism, she seems sociable enough, so I think she ought to have handled Fujine and Sakura okay-ish. But still, I'm worried.
セイバー起きてるよな。
And there's only one place she can be. Sakura's in the living room, so Saber should be in the dojo. Just as I thought, Saber's in the dojo.
シロ、どうしたのです？まだ起床には早いと思いますが。
いや、俺はこのぐらいが普通なんだ。飯の支度があるから。
そうなのですか。驚いた。随分と早起きなのですね、あなたは。
It must have been really unexpected for Saber to be surprised over something like that.
まあ、早起きの部類には入るかな。けど、おかしなことを気にするんだな。セイバー、俺が寝坊するタイプだと思ってたのか？
いえ、失言でした。タイガがまだ眠っていますし、エミヤの家の者は皆朝に弱いのだろうと早合点してしまった。
ああ、納得。藤姉の寝ぼすけっぷりは半端じゃないからな。
Yeah, and she's a restless sleeper too, come to think of it. It must have been hard for Sakura and Saber to get any shut-eye.
それより、おはよう、セイバー。昨日はよく眠れたか？
はい、十分に。昨日は戦闘もありませんでしたし、疲労は全くありません。
そりゃよかった。てっきり眠れていないのかと思ってさ。藤姉寝相悪かっただろう。昨日は遅くまで騒いでいたようだし、あんまり騒がしいようだったら俺から行って部屋を別にさせるけど、どうする
？Given Saber's personality, I can't imagine she finds it entirely comfortable sharing space with Fujine.
いいえ、その必要はありません。問題がない限り、タイガの提案を飲みたいと思います。
そうなのか？いや、そうしてもらえるとこっちも助かるんだけど。
You know, I feel like she's a little more approachable now. There's a bit of warmth in her tone.
セイバー、藤姉のこと気に入ったのか？
ええ、タイガはいい人柄です。あれほど人に偽らず人に騙されない人間は稀です。彼女が監督をしていたと聞いてシローの素直さがとても納得できた。
喜んでいいのかどうか微妙な評価だな、それ。
褒めているのです。まだ短い時間ですが彼女のことはよくわかりましたから。
Makes sense. I do think she's an open book like that. The real problem begins with whether what you read makes sense. That's a different story.
それじゃあさくらとも仲良くできただろう。さくらは藤姉に輪をかけて毒がないからな。
それはそうなのですが私には彼女を把握できません。敵意というほどではないのですがまだ警戒されているという感があります。
じゃあさくらとはまだ話してないのか？
いえ、さくらとも和解しました。シローの言う通り彼女もタイガ同様優しい人柄ですから。
なんだ、なら問題ないじゃないか。
I sigh with relief. Well, not to say I'm not still concerned about how that sounded more like negotiations and people getting along, but I'll shelve that for now. For now, all the problems in the Emiya household should be solved. Should being the key word, right? Everyone digs in. This is the first time that the four of us are eating around the dining table. I can't help but feel that this is nice.
あれ、これ微妙に薄味だな。出汁変えたのか、さくら。
はい、セーバーさん、お味噌汁に慣れてないと思って。あんまりお味噌が濃いのもダメかなって。
そうですね。昨夜の味付けより今朝の方が美味しいと思う。ですがさくら、私も和風の食事には慣れていますからそう気を使わず自由に調理してください。その方がお互いのためになる。
そうなんですか？わあ、ちゃんとお箸持ててる。びっくりしました。セーバーさんって器用なんですね。
慣れていますから。ですが正直に言うと箸は疲れます。フォークやナイフより優れた道具だとは思うのですが。
そうだね。セーバーちゃんはお箸よりナイフとフォークだよね。それ違う。かけるのはソースじゃなくて醤油。
なるほど。忠告感謝します。
よしよし。報酬として海苔を1枚いただきましょう。はい、白おかわり。
はい。食いすぎて二度寝するなよ。
先生、今日の朝練に参加されるなら少し控えた方がいいと思いますけど。
大丈夫。これぐらい入れておかないとお昼まで持たないもの。そういうさくらちゃんだって朝練の後におにぎり食べてるじゃない。
先生、知ってたんですか？
Oh, she was found out.
無ふり。端っこでコソコソやってるから気になって観察してたのよ。ダメよ、いい年頃の女の子が朝2食なんて。悪魔はこっそりとある日テロリストのように体重計に舞い降りるんだから私の読みではさくらちゃんの今の体重は
ダメです先生。言ったらもうご飯作りに来ませんから。それに間食は時々だけです。いつもそんなことしてるわけじゃありません。
Let the girl eat, man.
あれ、そうなのか？朝飯いつもイチゴ多く炊かれてたからてっきりさくらが握り飯でも作ってるんだろうなって思ってたんだけど。
先輩も知ってたんですか？
ダメさくらちゃん。シロね、そういう細かいことには妙に神経質なやつだからきっと初めておやつを作った時から気づいてたわよ。
初めて？それって 去年の夏のこと？
さくら、空中に埃でもあるのですか？そんなところで手を振って。
Breakfast proceeds like that. The morning is twice as noisy as usual. In the midst of that,
今朝未明に発見された被害者は50名を超え、現在は最寄りの救急病院で治療を受けており、
some disturbing news is on the TV.
信徒でまたガス漏れ？うわー、今度は50人だって。なに？被害者には昨夜から連絡が取れず、何人かの家族は不審に思い会社に連絡、警備員に確認させたところ、社内に残っている社員はいなかったとのこと。何これ？夕方からみんなビルの中で倒れてたのに、どうして警備員が気がつかないかな？職務怠慢とかそういうレベルの話じゃないよね。
Fujinen must have lost her appetite as she stops eating her third bowl of rice. Saber is watching the news with a grim expression. In that case, there's no doubt. I don't know what their motive is, but this is something done by a master. It is unfortunate that there are no deaths like the other gas leak incidents, but...
もう物騒だな。シロ、しばらく信徒でアルバイトするのは禁止だからね。貯金ならたくさんあるんだから、こんな時ぐらいゆっくりしなさい。
I appreciate that she's worried about me, but I can't reply. This is no time to be working anyway, but I won't be able to come home as often now that I'm at war. And so, when I can't come home, I have to lie and say I'm working so I don't make Fujine and Sakura worry. I finish cleaning up and go to the front door. Fujine and Sakura already left for morning practice. Saber is trying to follow me again like yesterday, but I can't let her do that today. The weekends are fine, but there's no way I can bring Saber to school on a weekday.
セイバー、言っとくけど、ここまでだぞ。学校に行っている間はここにいてくれ。セイバーと一緒に学校に行ったら騒ぎが大きくなるし、何より目立つ。マスターは人目につくのは避けるべきなんだろ？
There's that look again. I don't know why, but that's her infamous look that I like a lot. She must not be satisfied, she silently
だ
protests.
から大丈夫だって。人気があるところでは襲われないんだから、学校は安全だ。それにさ、身を守るだけなら俺一人でもなんとかなる。
Saber's eyebrow twitches. She must have an objection about the fact that I can protect myself.
一つ尋ねますが、それは白を一人で敵を倒せるという意味ですか？
まさか。昼間なら一人でも危険を回避できるってことだ。人気のないところには近づかないし、日が落ちる前に帰ってくる。それならセイバーも納得がいくだろ。お前だって魔力を温存するために休んでなくちゃいけないんだから、無理してついてくることはない。
わかりました。マスターがそう言うのなら、私は信じざるを得ませんね。
She is seriously worried about my safety. I feel bad for turning her down.
悪い、セイバー。けど大丈夫だって。それにさ、俺の身に何かあったら、セイバーにも伝わるんだろ？もしそうなったら。
いいえ、そうはいかないでしょう。私とシローのつながりは細い。マスターの危機が私に伝わるときは、シローの命そのものが危うくなっているときだ。そうなってから駆けつけても遅すぎる。
じゃあ俺の方からセイバーを呼べばいいのか？
はい。シローが私を必要だと思えば、それはあなたのサーバントである私に伝わります。それでも間に合わないと判断したときは、レイジを使ってください。レイジのバックアップがあるのなら、空間を飛んでシローの守りとなることができるでしょう。
Jump through space. That's really close to true magic, I think. The right to absolute obedience, the command spell, is something that powerful?
分かった。できるだけそんな事態にならないように立ち回る。 日が落ちるまでには帰ってくるから、セイバーは留守を守っていてくれ。